one particular time I remember just having this dream. And in this dream, I'm holding this child and I'm telling them, why did you come so early? People are born when they're 9 months. Why are you here? It's not yet 9 months. You don't come this early. You need to go back and come when it is time. At the right time. You need to go back and come at the right time. Now it's not the right time. And I see the child disappearing from my hands. Then I wake up, I'm thinking, what was that? So I tell my husband, hey, this is what I dreamt. And we begin to pray into it, like, what is that? What are you saying? And a few weeks down the line after that dream, one time the baby is just not moving.
I'm reminded of Joseph. I mean, how do you tell me everybody's going to bow before me and then consistently take me through hell? When are they going to bow? At some point, you might want to ask, where was this going to happen? Has God forgotten what he promised? Has the course of my life shifted? But all those stages of being sold as a slave, thrown into a pit, ending up falsely accused, in prison, it was a journey towards the palace. Finally, his brothers come and they bow before him. But it takes a long journey. So I think being able to keep our eyes on God, as you're saying, is very important. So as you continue, you say, of course, unfortunately, then you lost the second baby. But you told us you have 2 children. I'm curious to know what unfolded from there. Yes.
I think after that, the 7th year. The 7th year after we got married. We've been married for 7 years. So probably we've been waiting on the Lord for 6 years, right? The 7th year is when I got pregnant. This is after the stillbirth. And of course, that process again, you're thinking... The first trimester, you are thinking, oh Lord. The last trimester, you're also thinking, okay, are you fine? Are you moving?
Are you there? Yeah.
Right. Humanly, you would want to go that way. The fear of the past experience would want to creep in. But, someone said that you cannot stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop it from
building patching.
Exactly. Right. So such things will creep up. Are you sure the baby's okay? Are you sure it's going to go through? There's all that, but as long as I do not entertain those thoughts and allow them to actually become or to form how I see things, to inform how I perceive the entire thing, how my trust and belief is in God, as long as I do not allow that to happen. And I was very cautious to make sure that, I will not allow the enemy that space. Because he will try. He will always try to make sure that you doubt God. Did God really say? Will he truly remain true to his word? And well, at the end of the 3rd trimester, the Lord blessed us with our firstborn. Wonderful young man. And 2 years after that, we got our second-born. Another boy, 2 wonderful boys. And it has been a journey of just watching them grow and grow and grow. And we got a third-born. I remember our discussions towards that, getting a third-born. Of course, everybody, there's always be pressure, like, you need to get 1 more, you need to get 2 more. There's always that. But I remember someone once talked to us and told us, you know what? It really doesn't matter what people say. There is always a design for your family in the heart of God.
Yes.
There's a design, a plan. There's how God looks at Jane's family. And it is made up of father, mother, this number of children. There's another family X, and it is father and mother, no children. That's the design of God. In his heart, in his mind. And what is most important is finding that design. Not what people say, not what we think. Like you said earlier, that the Lord works out his plan. We might have many plans, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will prevail.
Right.
So And that really helped us a lot. Just talking and thinking, what is the design of this family? What is it? Is it us and 2 kids? Is it us and a 3rd child? What is it, And we had that discussion, and we felt, we should get 1 more child. We felt the design of this family is us and 3 kids, right? So 4 years down the line, 4 years after the second one is born, we were expectant again, and we took the journey very well. A few challenges here and there, but all went well. All was going well, and we were expecting a daughter. And my boys were super excited
to get a sister.
Super excited to get a sister. And towards the third, actually in the 3rd trimester, a few weeks to delivery. Yes, a few weeks to delivery. And one time I'm just sitting at my doctor's office waiting for my appointment, and I hear this voice inside of me, and it was very clear this is the Lord speaking to me. And he is talking about a season that he is bringing us into, and that we must make sure we see that it is him. It was very clear, make sure you see me. And I'm there waiting for my turn. I'm thinking, And I'm very sure. See, what are you talking about? Of course, this is wonderful. We have been waiting and we are trusting God. So finally, I'm thinking, what is God saying? Anyway, I went into the doctors. I had my clinic. On our way home, I told my hubby, by the way, this is what God said. And we're like, what does that even mean? We're like, as usual, when you hear the word from the Lord, you just don't throw it and say, I don't know what that means. But you pray into it. There's that state of inquiry. What do you mean, Lord? I don't understand. Help me. Help us to see what you're saying. I will not take your word lightly, because I believe this is you that said it, but help us see and understand what you mean. And that was our posture. And well, a few weeks down the line, I remember one time now I'm at home and I feel, this baby is not as active as usual. And we decided, let's actually go to hospital. Remember, it's a few weeks to delivery, yes. So let's go to hospital, let's carry our bags. We had already packed our bags. Let's just carry everything. We don't know. And we go and the doctor says, by the way, you guys are not going home. We need to do an emergency CS. We need to get the baby out. Yeah. They say the baby is distressed. Yes, that's the term they use. So we go, we're admitted, and we go through CS, and the baby is put in NICU, neonatal ICU. And then I'm thinking, is this what you are saying, Lord? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. But my posture is still, allow me to see you. Yes. Whatever you're doing, because I know this is you. Yes. This is still you. Allow me to see you. Allow me to see you. I always remember that even in the time of Job, the devil has no authority. Yes. Unless the Lord grants him. Right. Unless the Lord grants him. Yes. He came to say, have you seen your servant? Job. Yes. And then the enemy is asking for permission. Can I? So there's that understanding that no matter what happens in our lives, the Lord has to permit. The enemy cannot just jump in.
I think that's where, I think that's where we give the devil too much credit. Exactly. Because everybody has kind of like our fallback position is, I'm under attack. Yes. The enemy has attacked me. And I think sometimes you give the devil too much credit. Too much credit. And I'm sure he's sitting and saying, wow, these guys are really,
he exploits that.
He takes advantage and, sows all those negative thoughts into your mind. And so go ahead, Jane.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. There's at the back of our minds the fact that this is still you, Lord. Even if you use the enemy, he's still used by you. Yes. I mean,
you're the one who permits him.
Exactly. Right. If it's a donkey talking, it's not of its own.
It's God instructing.
It's still God. It's still God. And we're there like, Lord, this is still you. So, and you said very clearly that we need to make sure that we see you. And therefore, we go for CS, the baby's out, and we have this process of in and out of hospital for like, okay, the baby was in hospital all through. I was discharged, but I used to take trips every single day, would go to hospital and all that. So 3 weeks later, 21 days later, we wake up this morning and it's my son's birthday, our firstborn. We're celebrating his birthday, so he's all so excited. Mom, today's my birthday. What are we doing?
Yes.
He has a list of friends he has invited for the birthday. We do the decor for the house. We put everything in order. We do the cooking and all that. And then in the midst of all that, I get a call from the hospital. They're like, Jane, you need to come to hospital. The doctor would like to see you. I'm like, no, I'm planning to come later. They're like, no, please do come now. They're like, oh, okay, we're coming. The minute I put that call on, I'm thinking, something inside of me just felt that's not normal.
It's not right.
Something is not right somewhere. So I tell my hubby, you know what? The hospital is calling us, so we have to go. So we leave everything ready for the birthday. We tell our son we have to go come back with a cake, come back with your gifts. The friends were already there, so we're like, just give us like an hour or two max, we'll be back. Fine, and we take our trip to the hospital, and I remember as you approach the ICU, the neonatal ICU, there's this big door that you can see through, and her bed was right at the corner. So from the door you could see her bed at the corner, and there were all these doctors surrounding her bed. And inside of me I felt nah. I remember holding my husband's hand, like it just felt no, something is not right here. And they told us not to come in. They told us just wait. So we stood there for some time, and then finally they opened the door and they told us you can come in. And we walked in, went to that place, and in ICU they have all these machines that are connected, and they always produce this sound, and you can see the readings and all that. But it was silent. Everything was silent. There was nothing reading. It was just quiet. And as I stood there, just looking, I'm thinking to myself, oh no, what I am thinking did not just happen. And the doctor says, we are very sorry because we've just lost your daughter. They said she had, I think her heart stopped beating. And so the first time they called, they were able to resuscitate her. Then again, as we were coming in, they were also trying to resuscitate her because it happened again. So they're like, I'm sorry, we have tried our best and this is it. And we just stood there. I mean, my heart just shattered into so many tiny pieces. Like, wow. Wow. Lord. Wow. At times you're speechless. At times you're like, wow, okay. You're trying to acclimatize, you're trying to see what is happening, and you're also trying to remember very clearly that, Lord, you said I see you, so this is still you. And we were there, and we're like, oh, would you like to hold the baby? Of course, I took the baby and just cried and moaned. Like the Bible says, we do not mourn as them that have no hope.
Yes.
We knew very well that, you know what, we will see you. We'll see you one day. We'll see you one day. It's just goodbye here. But we'll see you one day. And after that session, we went back and we were just sitting somewhere, and it just dawned on me like, wait a minute. There's a birthday at home. There's a birthday at home. There's this young man that is super excited.
And he's waiting.
He's
for
waiting
the celebration.
for the celebration. His friends are there. Everything, the cake, everything is there. And we're just there sitting with my husband and asking ourselves, what do we do? What do we do? And we just talked, and it was very clear to us that, you know what? This girl has finished her assignment on earth. She's gone back home. She's with the Father, where she came from. But we still have those two boys that are waiting at home. We are still stewards of those two boys that are at home.
That must have taken a lot of strength, eh?
Oh,
And grace from God. I mean, I'm thinking, do you go back home and tell them what has happened, or do you, because they're expecting a celebration?
and expecting a celebration.
Yeah.
And they're young kids, you know. The fact that you would go and try and tell them, we will not celebrate because this has happened. They will not understand.
No, they will not. No, they will not.
They will not understand. And it's something that will remain here at the back of their minds. They'll always remember this birthday that went like this.
Yes.
And for us, we were very clear. Like, you know what? Go celebrate that birthday. Go give life. Go give life there. Just like Jesus hanging on the cross. Darkest moment. And he's there giving life to this thief.
Right.
Standing here and telling them, today you will be with me.
Yes.
But he himself, life is living. Life is oozing out of him. He's able to say, Mother, behold your son. And John, Mother, you know. It was very clear. Go home. Go home and celebrate that life that you still have. And our response was just one. We lift up our eyes to the hills from where our help comes from. Because there is nothing, I tell you, nothing in this earth can give you that grace and that strength and that joy to celebrate a birthday of your son when you have just lost your daughter, same day. Nothing in
It's
this
either
earth.
God
It's either God
or you're crazy.
or you're nuts.
Yeah. I mean,
It's either God or you're nuts.
wow.
And for us, we saw the strength of God. We really saw the grace that comes from God. That nothing in this earth can satisfy. Nothing in this earth can take the place of God.
Right.
It's only God.
It's only him.
It's only Him. It is only Him.
Right.
He is our true
Right.
hope.
Yes.
He is our true hope. He is our true joy. And at that time, scriptures were jumping into life. Your strength is made perfect
In weakness.
in my weakness. Scriptures were coming into life.
Right.
Coming into life. Scriptures that we had read before. And at that time, they were just scriptures. But at this moment, they're jumping into life. That I can hold on to the joy of the Lord. That is my strength. And we encourage each other.
Yeah.
You know how David would say, I encourage myself
Myself
in the Lord.
in the Lord.
We encouraged each other and encouraged ourselves. And we said, you know what? Let's go home. Let's go celebrate this birthday. And went, picked the cake. Of course, in the midst, you're doing all that in the midst of tears. In the midst of crying, you know. But again, you're remembering my sight is on Him. My sight is on Him. And we were very clear in our hearts that it is true. This is what you wanted of us. This is a very important marker of our journey. It has allowed us to see the eternal God, who is our continuous hope, who is our source of life. You allowed us to have a third child for this reason. For this particular one reason. And we went home and celebrated the birthday. We didn't tell the kids at that time now. I remember we walked out of the car and the birthday boy just shouts, today is the best day ever.
Yeah. This is
Of course.
It is his birthday.
Wow.
It's his birthday.
Wow.
And in my heart, I thought to myself, here in the earth, it may not seem as the best day ever. But there is somewhere up here
Right.
where God is. He is looking at all that and He's saying, it is beautiful.
It is good.
It is well. It is good. It is beautiful. And I told God, I want to leap onto that faith that this young boy has just declared today is the best day ever. And for us, every single year that we celebrate our son's birthday, we always remember that one lesson that we learned.
Yes.
We always remember, wow, indeed, man shall not live by bread alone,
Bread alone.
but by every word,
word.
every resource,
Yes.
every grace, every strength that comes from
Comes
God.
from the Lord.
And here we are today,
Indeed.
having two wonderful boys.
Wow.
I mean, at times, nothing lasts forever. Processes don't last forever. And the pain of a moment at times can seem so intense. But one day, there is a joy there. You know how the Bible talks about Jesus? For the joy
that was set before him.
He endured.
He endured. Right.
He endured.
Yeah.
And looking back, that pain was a lot, was intense, yes, fine. But there was joy to endure. And today I stand here and I look at my boys and I remember my kids, I remember the processes, but it is from a point of joy.
Yes.
It is from a point of victory. It's from a point of that has shaped me, that has shaped our marriage, that has brought us
Made you into
closer,
who you
that
are.
has made me into who I am.
Yeah.
Right.
The potter really knew what he was doing. And so we are celebrating our 2 boys, growing in them day by day. Of course, we had to tell them eventually about their sister.
Yes.
But it also gave us a platform to allow them to know God.
Yes.
Because they would ask, you mean God, the all-powerful God, was not able to heal our sister? And you have to explain to him that at times God can heal or not.
Yes.
And explain, you mean we will see her? What do you mean? And it gives you a platform to explain salvation and accepting Jesus in your heart.
Right.
And how that
That's the only
allows us.
guarantee
That's the
where
only
you see-
guarantee
yes.
that you will see.
Right.
Yes.
And they will begin to join dots and say, oh, so that means we will also see our grandparents who went to be with the Lord if Jesus is in our hearts. And for us, it just gave us a platform that we never knew
To connect them to
to
God.
connect them to God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed,
Amazing
wow.
story.
God works in very mysterious ways. Sometimes some of them that do not make sense. I listen to you. It's of course a very emotive story, but at the same time a very edifying story, because I'm looking at a very real and raw experience whereby it's not about numbing the pain. You said in the midst of the tears, we rose up to celebrate. So that the tears are flowing. We feel the pain. It doesn't mean that when we're talking about journeying in a certain way and having a certain perspective, we are numbing the pain and pretending it doesn't exist. The tears flow. The emotions are all there. But at the same time, there is a certain positioning in my heart that allows me to keep my gaze on God. And in that case, then my journey becomes different. It's not a journey of hopelessness, right? I was thinking about what you said, the declaration your son made as you're getting out of the car. And I was saying it was actually a very good day in fulfillment of God's purpose. It's only that sometimes it doesn't feel that way when it's touching us directly. It doesn't feel like it is a good day. It doesn't feel like it's a good season in my life. But as you're saying, God is looking down from heaven and saying, yeah, I'm forming what I have always desired. You know what he says to Jeremiah in the first chapter of Jeremiah, he says, I knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. And he talks about setting him apart and predestining him, setting him apart as a prophet. And I'm thinking, sometimes we think God has shifted, he's not here anymore, and things are going crazy in our lives, therefore we do not know where we are headed, and we forget, as you're saying, looking up to him, because that very plan he ordained before we were, and that very destiny that he set for us, apart for us at that time, he's still working towards it. I think we fall prey of the human perspective of wanting to see the result now and wanting to see the detail of it now, and we fail to focus on God, then journey with him towards there, because it's an aspect of trusting. It's an aspect of trusting. You know, the disciples being on the boat with Jesus, and there's a storm, and he's still, he's calm, he's asleep. And they are wondering, how can this fellow be asleep when we are almost capsizing in this boat? It is that thing of, I know whose I am. I know who is in charge. And Jesus is not worried that you're going to capsize. But you see, the disciples did not even remember he was there, and he's God. And he's in our midst. So we can look up to him and be fine. But there is that thing in our human minds that I can't see the pattern right now. I can't see where this is going. So I fall into a panic mode. And sometimes either we are looking for solutions in the wrong place, or we are despairing and we are losing hope. Yet if they just remembered he is God and he is right here with us in this boat, then they would have been fine. And I like that aspect. You know, the stillness you're expressing. that we know this is not we don't know what this is. We don't understand it.
Yeah.
But we know you're God.
Oh, we know you.
I like that consistently you're making reference to God producing something, God building something within you, you know, and consistently said, God spoke, God said, God put this in my heart. And speaks into the importance of our having a continuous relationship with God through every aspect of our journey.
Direct us.
So that he can, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's Isaiah. Is it Isaiah 30 that says that you will hear a voice speaking to you? This is the way, walk in it. He says, though I feed you the bread of affliction. Yes. He says, you will not turn to the right or to the left, because you will hear a voice telling you this is the way, walk in it. And so it is very important to consciously engage that this is God. This is God doing it. It's tough, or this is God allowing it, as you said. Even if he's not doing it, he's allowing it because he's sovereign.
I'm thinking of this, as you're talking about that, I'm thinking of this scripture that says, commit your way to the Lord and trust also that he will do it. So it is one thing to commit your way to God. It is one thing to say, God, I commit this issue to you, but it says, and trust also. So I think many times we proclaim with our mouths and tell God that, God, I have committed my life to you. I commit this situation in your hands. But now I have to take it further, you know, and come to a place of I have committed, but I also trust that you have the power to do it. And also keeping it in mind that, you know, what he says that I have, you know, good plans for you, plans of a future and a hope to bring you to an expected end. I have to trust that when he says he has got good plans for me, I have to trust that. And the issue here, the balance is, do I really believe that God has got good plans for me? That even when things are not working out the way I expect them to, even when I look around and see, you know, my world, it feels like it's crashing. Do I trust, do I believe what he says, that he has got good plans for me? So I think that aspect of, you've committed this, but I also have to trust you, God. I have to trust you. So even when things don't make sense, that trust and that faith in the goodness of God, in the faithfulness of God, is what keeps you staying buoyant, is what makes you float, even in very difficult situations. But if you just commit your way to God and you don't trust him and you don't trust in his goodness and faithfulness, it means you're putting him in a box. You're conditioning God. You're pouring your assumptions into his will. And God does not want us to pour our assumptions into. We commit our way to him, but we have to tell him, God, that God, I trust you. Help me to see and help me understand what you really want to do in my life inside of this situation.
That speak, what would affect that belief and affect that trust, so that we have proclaimed it, but then we are not able to follow it up with faith. And I'm thinking of what she consistently said. They came back together with her husband. They made inquiry of the Lord. They prayed together.
Yes.
And that, I think, for me, I look at an aspect that fortified them from the noise that was coming from outside, that would easily water down that belief that you're talking about, that trust. That if he says he means well for me, he has good plans. Even in all this mess, he still has a good plan, you know. But then it calls for being very conscious on how and whom am I involving in my process, right? Because that's how we hear so many voices from outside. You curse God and die. That's Job's wife, isn't it? How can he be a good God if he's taking you through this? So sieving through the interactions, the engagements we encounter along our journey, because we're not journeying in a void.
Right.
No, we're journeying in an environment where there is so much that can distract you from that purpose. You see, even the way she was saying, people asking, why are you still a young girl without a child? Because they don't see the inside. But I like the fact that she said, because I can see it myself, and I know they can't see from the outside. That means looking at my situation from in out, rather than from outside in. Then that helps me to keep the trust and the belief. Yes.
Very, very strengthening and encouraging discussions that we've had today. And I think the beauty of just knowing that there's strength that comes from God, and the beauty of knowing that when we trust our way to the Lord and when we commit our way to the Lord, that we can be able to trust him to see us through every circumstance of our lives. And I'm sure, just as we have been able to talk to our guest today, Jane, and the stories that the story that she has shared with us and the journey that she walked with the Lord, it's encouraging somebody to know that I'm not in this alone. I even when things don't make sense, and I know maybe somebody out there is going through a situation that is not making sense inside of your life, you can be able to receive that strength to know that I am committing, or I have committed my life to the Lord, but God, help me to trust you more. I think there's a scripture in the Bible that says, I believe, help my unbelief. And I think it's a good cry of times when you really feel circumstances are not encouraging you to trust in the Lord. And it's okay to tell God that, God, I believe in your word. I believe in what you have said, but help my unbelief. Help my unbelief and bring me to a place where I can totally trust you. So we are very grateful that, Jane, you came to be with us today. And thank you for sharing your story. Maybe, Eva, you can wind up for us?
Yes, I think I echo Christine's word. That was very enriching. Yes. And I believe there's somebody out there who could be journeying through either a similar process or even a different one, but one that can potentially render them hopeless. Thank you so much for pouring your life out, because as you share your life, you give life to somebody else. So viewers, I believe this has been enriching to you as well. We continue to bring you stories like this so that you continue to experience the faithfulness of God as you observe the processes of others, as you hear the encounters they have had, that we can be affirmed in the Lord, that even in the midst of the pain, in the midst of the suffering, as we have mentioned here, he still has a good plan for you. Hold on to him. Hold on to him. So thank you so much. Look out for the next episode of Ascendant Hope. We will continue to speak to you. And if you have a story you would like to share, please contact us, because we know there's somebody else out there who might have a similar story that could be enrich the lives of others. And subscribe so that you continue to receive the new stories as they come along. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. And bye to you today.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye.